was on the phone today with one of my superstar mentees who's created billions, and he chuckles about you kids, and the fact that I don't hit you anymore like I did in the 90s. I physically used to hit the students, or the mentees, whatever you want to call yourselves. And on the podcast that I did this afternoon, just a few minutes ago, I was asked why I think the Trump bump or the Trump era is for real. And as I said on November 8th, it's the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of mankind since World War II. I still stick to that. You look at all the indices. Anyway, but we'll talk about that. We'll show you what indices to pick. I said quite clearly, U.S. is fed up. They may get fed up with Donald too, but they were fed up, and that's why they elected him. Brexit is another example. The same thing in Britain, and there have been other elections in Europe, and whether the EU makes it or not will depend on how fed up they are. But the bottom line is, it doesn't make a shit if the EU collapses. It doesn't make a shit if Greece collapses. It doesn't make a shit if Canada collapses. It doesn't make a fuck. There are going to be fortunes to be made. From chaos comes order, you fucking melon heads. This is the greatest time. I couldn't have written a script better for QLA. I made money at 18, 20% interest rates. If you can't make money at 3 or 4 or 5% interest, you ought to kill yourself and kill your children and your parents, metaphorically speaking, and winning lawsuits. This is it, guys. Fuck. What have you been doing the last 5 or 10 years for those of you that are old enough when they've been giving money away free? You know what? You had your thumb up your ass doing nothing. That's what you've been doing. You should be ashamed that you even have to come to this fucking seminar in 2017. Since 2008, 9, and 10, they've been giving fucking money away. You should have had a couple billion tucked in your fucking mattress by now. And I know that I'm the last. I'm the last saloon on the street. You don't come to me unless you're 2 steps away from blowing your fucking brains out. You either come here because you're desperate or inspired. And I don't see any inspiration in this fucking group. You've tried Tony, God love him, he doesn't do what I do. You've tried Grant, God love him, he doesn't do what I do. And you've tried all the rest from A to Z. And if any of those cocksuckers had worked, you wouldn't fucking be here. Because I'm going to give you a fucking beating, old timer, like you've never had. And it only begins at the end of the week. The real beating comes on the weekly reports when I humiliate you. And I'll call you all bastards, and some of you are. And then when we have the monthly Zoom calls, which is the most fun, as my Yorkshire wife would say, because you can see each other. And the lack of self-confidence. But what's good for me is over time it builds, month after month after month. And because this is a especially small group, I'll get to have more fun because I'll be able to spend more time with each and every one of you. You'll wish it was 23 here. It's normal, it's 20 plus a couple others. We have one active duty military. Right? How come I know that's you? You'll know. You'll learn. And he'll be wearing his uniform during the seminar. Thank you for your service. But 50 years ago, and the reason why I'm going to give you a special beating this week, 24 years ago last week, I gave my first seminar for QLA. On the 24th of May in Los Angeles at the Sheraton Hotel, I had 60 plus people pay $1,000 each for 12 hours of seminar and 3 hours of Q&A. But 50 years ago today, see what time is it now? It's 8 o'clock. About 50 years ago to the hour, the United States Congress, in their infinite wisdom, made me an officer and a gentleman. And they commissioned me a second lieutenant. 50 years ago today. It's the first high performance thing I ever completed. First high performance thing. And the rest was history, as they say. So 50 years ago today. 50 years ago. It doesn't seem like 50 years ago. I was just telling one of the podcast guys, a well-known guy, I don't feel I'll be 72 in a few weeks. I don't feel 72. I don't believe I look 72. Well, at the end of the week, you're going to be the ones that are tired. And I'm going to be standing. And you're going to be sitting on your fucking ass. You'll have trouble sitting on your ass because you got both thumbs up them. We've had people leave today. We've had people leave tomorrow. And we've had people leave every single day of the week, including just before graduation. We've had people drop out before the first weekly report. You can guess why that occurs. And today, 24 years later, after we initiated the first seminar, we have templates and we have webinars and we have the mentor program, which I didn't institute until 2010. We have the weekly reports and we have the Zoom calls and we have all this shit that we didn't have in the 90s and early 2000s. When you built your dream team, then you used shoe leather. Get on a bus, get on a train, hitchhike, whatever. Now, you lazy cunts are going to do it this way, most of you. Maybe some of the old farts. There's only 2 or 3 of you old guys. But the billionaires we produce were more in the 90s than in today. Because for a generation, arguably 2 generations, we have produced snowflakes, cunts, flapping vaginas. And that can't help but wear off on you, even if you're not a snowflake. Because you feel wrongly that if I compete harder than them, I'm not a snowflake, I should accomplish more. I was listening. How did I get fired up for today? I watched Zulu last night, the 1963 movie starring Michael Caine about the Zulus, the 4,000 or 5,000 Zulus that attacked Fort such and such in Africa in 1879, the Brits. And the guys on the podcast today, and I was talking just like I'm talking to you. How do you stay so fired up? Because I'm being all I can be every motherfucking day from the time I wake up to the time I fall asleep saying my prayers every fucking night. And for those of you that think you're capable of that, you'll make it. We were supposed to have a SEAL here. He got deployed on me. Cunt. You were given several things to read. Most of you didn't read them. When you sit here and watch movies at night and videos at night, which is part of your homework, I don't care if you've seen the fucking thing 50 times. If you get up and leave and go to your room, you might as well pack your bag and go home. If I ask you a fucking question about the fucking movie and you can't answer me, you better have a real good reason and why you don't know the fucking answer. When I give you homework, sometimes as much as 4 or 5 assignments a night, some only 1 assignment a night, you better have fucking done it. Or just when you tell me you can't, just put your shit together and leave. When you come in late to the seminar, you stand up the rest of the motherfucking day for the whole rest of the seminar. You will urinate. You'll want to urinate a lot because when you're under pressure, you pee more. Your body, because it's fucking scared, creates more urine as they say here. I don't give a fuck. When we go into the room to seat for dinner, Sally sits first. You stand until everybody's seated. If one of you are late for a meal, you just miss the meal. Unless you're dead or in a fucking coma, I'm not interested. Not the death of your wife, not the death of your mother, your death, your coma. As I told the podcast, and the only thing that I miss is I can't hit you fuckers anymore. Tomorrow morning, breakfast starts at 7. The class starts at 8, and it's in the pavilion, which is a big building about 120 meters down the road that way. We have 2 breaks, one before lunch and one after lunch. And lunch is roughly an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. Well, excuse me, don't be late. Don't be late. I'm begging you, don't be late. Otherwise, see, then you'll go on the internet and go to read it and say, cocksucker took my money and then he threw me out. And you won't say I was just a cunt. We've had people piss their pants in the seminar. We had people pass out in the seminar. We had people cry in the seminar. But the best of all was when a Big 4 accountant shit himself in the seminar. That's the day I take the most pride in. He shat himself. And then on Big 4 stationery, he wrote me an apologetic letter. I knew I was a real man when I shit myself. I know you guys all think you're tougher than that. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, that's it.